Viking Wolf. Viking Wolf takes us back to the year 1050 when the chief of the Viking clan, Grim Gudbrand, went with his entire army to raid Normandy. While they were in Normandy, Gudbrand's forces discovered a secret room, which the native monks begged the chief not to go inside. Gudbrand thought that the room would have some treasure, and that is why the monks were trying to stop him and his men from entering there. But that was not true. They found a little cub there, and though it looked harmless at first, it was no less than a hound of hell. It is said that ignorance is the root of misfortune, and that is what happened with the Viking soldiers. They brought the cub on their ship, and it killed the entire army before they reached Norway. The wolf went and hid inside the dense Nordic woods. 1,000 years later, people had forgotten that anything of that sort had ever happened. Thale had just moved to Nybo in Norway. Thale was very close to her sister, Jani, who was hearing and speech impaired. Thale's mother, Liv Berg, was a deputy in the Norwegian police force. Thale's father had died, and her mother had married another guy named Arthur. Jonas, a friend of Thale, had messaged her, asking if she would be joining them that evening. Thale went to meet him, and an unexpected tragedy came her way that changed her entire life. Thale, Jonas, and another friend of theirs, Elin Gran, were attacked by a predator, though they were not able to see what kind of creature it was. Jonas and Thale were gravely injured, but that predator had taken Elin Gran inside the woods. Elin was the daughter of the mayor of the city, and that is why the police forces were under a lot of pressure to find her. Liv arrived at the screen, and when seeing her daughter there, she got worried. To her relief, her daughter survived, though she did suffer some injuries. Liv tried asking Thale and all the others present at the scene about what exactly had happened, but nobody had seen anything that could help the police make a breakthrough. Elin Gran's body was finally found, and though it looked like she was attacked by a predator, the abrasions were so huge that the medical expert wasn't able to ascertain what kind of animal it was. One day out of nowhere, a man named Lars Broden came to the police station and met Liv. He told her that the predator who had killed Elin was a lycanthrope, a kind of werewolf that he had been hunting for his entire life. Lars told Liv that the wolf could only be killed by a special kind of bullet that was made of silver. William, the expert from the institute, came and examined the dead body and came to the conclusion that the predator was a wolf, though he didn't understand how the claws of the beast could be so much bigger than a normal wolf. Liv got the hunting permit, and the Norwegian police force started the search for the werewolf. The beast finally came out from hiding and attacked them. Though the police force suffered some casualties, they were able to kill the horrifying creature. When William examined the body of the dead wolf, he noticed that, surprisingly, the normal lead bullets didn't do any damage to it, and the single silver bullet that had been given to Liv by Lars Broden caused a weird chemical reaction that ended up killing the beast. Liv understood that Lars Broden was actually speaking the truth, and she went to meet him once again with William. Lars welcomed them into his caravan, and he told them whatever he knew about the creature. Lars wanted them to know about the possibility of the werewolf infecting another human being, and he informed them that the predator was always driven by a hunger for human blood. On the night Elin was attacked, Thale was bitten by a werewolf. She started getting weird visions, and she had no clue what they meant. The wound on her shoulder had also not been healing, and at times she felt nauseated and sick. Thale was slowly transforming into a werewolf, and nobody had a clue about it. Thale was with Jonas when she couldn't resist her bloodthirst and ended up devouring him. Thale went into hiding, and the police came and found the dead body of Jonas. Meanwhile, Thale, who had gone into hiding, boarded a bus, but in between her journey, she completely transformed into a werewolf. She started killing the passengers on the bus, And that's when Liv was informed about the situation, and she instantly reached the Nebo tunnel. Liv realized that it was her own daughter who had transformed into a werewolf. Thale, who had no control over himself whatsoever, went to her own house. When Jenny saw the wolf, she looked it in the eye and instantly realized that it was her own sister. Jenny's presence calmed Thale down, and it felt like she would be able to overpower her instincts without hurting her. But just then, Arthur arrived, and seeing Jenny in front of a deadly predator, he started hitting it with whatever he had. Arthur and Jenny escaped from the house, but Arthur crashed his car and he fell unconscious because he had been profusely bleeding. Jenny once again came face to face with her sister, and it felt like she would be able to bring her under control. But Liv and William arrived at the scene this time and shot the werewolf with a tranquilizer. It didn't slow the predator down, and Thale came after them with full force. Lars Broden sped up his caravan and rammed it into the werewolf, hoping to injure it, but his efforts were futile, and he was killed by it as well. Finally, it was Jenny who stabbed the wolf with a tranquilizer and made it stop. It was a difficult thing for her to do, as she knew that it was her own sister, but she had no option left. Thale was brought to the forensics lab, and Liv knew that she had to be killed so that she couldn't attack anybody else. She loaded her gun with the same silver bullets that Lars had given her, and probably shot her daughter with her own hands. Liv came back, and as a tribute to her daughter's memories, she kept the silver bullet in front of her photograph.